Welcome to part 3 of the morphing tutorial. So in this video here I'd like to finish our particle simulation, so let's make a few changes to our settings. So first of all, I'd like to increase the number of particles we have in our scene. So to do this with the fill object emitter selected, let's change the resolution here from 0.2 to something like 1.3. So that gave me a good result when I tested this out. So let's hit enter, and let's just reset our simulation, and then you will see that we have, instead of 12,000 particles, we will have something like 81,000, which is quite a bit, but it works out. It's not too much to calculate here. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing I realized when I did some tests was that our two daemons, the D-spline and the noise field, those are running, starting at frame 60 and so on, and then going all the way through, and that doesn't help. So yeah, it's a good idea to turn those off somewhere between frame 120 and 130. So let's keyframe this. So with the D-spline daemon selected, let's go to frame 124 and add a key for the simulation active. So right click, add a key, and then go into frame 125, set this to inactive, and add another key. So right click, add key. Doing the same here for the noise field daemon, going back to frame 124, make a keyframe for active, so right click, add a key. And then again going one step further to frame 125, set this to inactive, and right click and add another key. Okay, so some settings here in the D-spline and the noise field we could change to make it look a little bit more interesting. So the vortex strength is set to 4. Let's just double that to 8. So type in 8, hit enter. And let's increase the radial strength, so the rotation of that particles. Let's double that to 10, from 5 to 10. And then we're changing some stuff here with in the noise field daemon. So let's set the strength here from 5 to, let's type in 8. Okay. The magic daemon, which kicks in at frame 120, let's change the approach strength from 10 to 15. Okay, and I think that's all we need to change here. But since we did some tweaks here in the magic daemon, and we have that bug that yeah, we have to do the workaround again. So select the magic daemon here under the global links, hit delete on the keyboard, and then drag and drop it back into the global links. And then let's reset our simulation. Just wait a couple of seconds here. Okay, and then let's simulate this through and see what we got when that's done. Alright, so this is what came out of my simulation, and yeah, let me just play this here in my video preview. So I just changed the resolution of the video preview so that you can see a little bit better what's going on. So this is real time, 30 frames per second, and it's looking, yeah, I would say pretty cool. I mean, it's not perfect, but for this simple tutorial here, I think that's something I can live with. Yeah, so feel free to play around with all those settings we changed, so that whatever, just use different meshes, or you don't even have to use text for that. Just use some OBJs and try to morph some particles. It's really fun. It's sometimes a little bit time consuming, and sometimes Realflow can get a little bit annoying because yeah, in between, in my case, it crashed, especially when I was doing the meshing process, which we're gonna take care about right now. Okay, so once you're happy with your particles, yeah, we are ready to create a mesh out of those particles. Let me go to frame 1. And now let's click here on that icon, which is the mesh icon. And then you have 2 or 3 choices here. So we're using the particle mesh standard. The render kit, yeah, that's something new in Realflow 5, and to be honest, I haven't done much with that yet, so let's just use the old school method here, the particle mesh in Realflow. So standard, click on that, and there you go. So we get that particle mesh here in our nodes, and if you open that up here or click on that plus sign, you see that our fill object emitter is already included into that. But you can see a mesh here. It's totally normal. So first of all, you have to right click and say build. And Realflow is figuring out some default settings here. And if you click here in an empty space, okay, you see we got a mesh, but it's looking kind of wireframe. And those keyboard shortcuts for shaded mode or flat shaded and smooth shaded is 0 on the keyboard. Flat shaded is 9. And then you have can press 8 and 7 to see the bounding box. So 8 is wireframe, 9 flat shaded, 0 is smooth shaded. And we still have our particles in our viewport. So let's just turn the visibility off from those particles. So click here on the fill object emitter and go here to display and say under visible no, so that we only see the mesh here. So we meshed the particles only in frame 0 in my case, and yeah, it's looking like a mesh, but I don't like the bumpiness here. So let's select our mesh and then go here to filters, and let's turn those filters on or say yes, and then let's dial up the relaxation here to something like 0.3. And then let's right click here over our particle mesh and say build. Takes another second here. Okay, so it looks, if we select an empty space here, looks much smoother. Yeah, I don't like the, that those letters here are connected. Let's select that mesh. Let's try to increase the steps here. Let's double that from 64 to something like 128. Hit enter, and again let's right click over the mesh here under the nodes and say build. Okay, yeah, that didn't help to fix that little issue there, but yeah, let's see. So we can go in here, select the fill object emitter that's underneath the particle mesh, and then go here to the field, and let's dial down the radius here. So the radius now is set to 0.03855. Let's try something like 0.035. But be careful with those numbers. Once it's too hard to calculate, sometimes Realflow crashes. So 0.035. Hit enter and hover over particle mesh, right click and build. And let's see what we get. Okay, so that helped that little issue here. So we still have a little connection here, but yeah, it's very, very small. So let's try to decrease that radius just a little bit. Or what we could do is change the blend factor. So let's try that first. So the blend factor now is set to 95. Let's dial it down to 90. And then again, hover over the particle mesh, right click and build. Yeah, that definitely helps here. Okay, so let's check out the mesh if there are any holes or any problems here. It's looking alright to me. Okay, so now once frame 0 or frame 1 is alright, let's do some tests here in between. Let's switch to frame 60 or 59, and then let's build the mesh for this frame. So it's always a good idea to check out some different frames before you start to mesh out the whole simulation here, because sometimes it looks good in frame 10 or on frame 10, and yeah, it sucks at frame whatever 80 or something. Okay, so this is looking pretty interesting. I like that. Okay, let's go to frame maybe 190, and let's build that mesh for this frame. Okay, it's looking all right. I mean, okay, we still see some holes in here, but that's I think that if you're going to frame 200, so the last frame of our simulation or my simulation, so if yours is going to frame 400, feel free to do some test meshes. So build on frame 200. Okay. So once we do the or create the mesh for all the frames, I mean, we still have an issue here because yeah, but that's we can't fix it here with the mesh, so we have to, if we want to have that E here in the end looking like an E, yeah, we should work on our particle simulation. Feel free to do that. Yeah, let's just try to mesh this out with the settings we just created here. So to do this, all you need to do here is click on the particle mesh. I think it's a good idea to go back to step 1 or frame 0, not step 1, and then click here on that little icon, which is build meshes. Okay, so let me do this, and this will take a couple of minutes, and I'll be back when that's done. Yeah, so I meshed the 200 frames here, which took, I would say, about 30 to 45 minutes on my system. So let me play that. And I created a video preview. It's looking alright. Has some issues, and yeah, it's like yeah, I would say not perfect, but I think for this short tutorial, this is good enough to explain, just some basic stuff here. We don't want to get too picky here on some parts, especially the E and the last, I would say, 20 frames or something. We have some, I would say, mesh flickering, but that's okay. So let me close my video preview, and from here on, let's save our scene file. So save project, and yeah, I think I'm gonna pause this video, and in the next one we bring open up Maya and bring in that mesh here and render it out with Mental Ray.